Meeting is called to order. Please stand for the pledge.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
Welcome, everyone, to the March regular meeting of the Community High School District 94 Board of Education. Mission statement, please.
Community High School strives to promote and provide growth experiences in learning, leadership, and living.
Thank you, Rich. Board agreements, please.
Board members respect the confidentiality of privileged information and will not divulge conversations, discussions, or deliberations that take place during a closed session meeting. Board members understand that to divulge closed session information not only damages the relationship of the team, but has the potential for far-reaching consequences which may impact future district operations.
Thank you, Rich. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Ms. Doremus?
Present.
Ms. Munoz?
Here.
Mr. Nagel?
Present.
Mr. Sake?
Present.
Mr. Suniga?
Here.
A student of the month.
Secretary, student of the month seems to be running a little bit behind. Perhaps we could wait for that one a little later in the agenda.
Okay, then we'll go to good news of the district. Congratulations, Jaden. So we'll just let me know if our student of the month arrives. Moving on, that brings us to public participation. This is the portion of our meeting where any member of the public can address the Board of Education on any topic. We welcome your comments and will carefully listen to your concerns. We will not be able to engage in a dialogue during public participation, but when appropriate, we will direct the administration to follow up. Presentations are limited to no more than 5 minutes per person, with a total time limit of 30 minutes for public participation. If you wish to make personal charges or complaints against individual employees, volunteers, or students of the district, we request that you send the board your concerns in writing rather than stating those concerns during public comment. If anyone currently present wishes to make public comment and hasn't already done so, please fill out one of the comment forms in the back of the room and hand it to someone seated at the table. At this point, we have not received any public comment, either electronically or comment cards. So that brings us to reports and information. Director of Business Services report.
Thank you. I'm over here this time.
Yep. Like, wait a minute.
Just a few items to update the board on. The Bishop Gym is in need of a full floor refinishing, which would include sanding, repairing, sealing, and painting of the gym floor. We're planning on releasing a bid for this project this Friday with the hope to have the board approve this work at the April board meeting. Based on a couple of initial quotes, the estimated cost of this work is between $50,000 to $100,000, and we expect this work to be completed over the summer. A quick update on the summer food service program that I'll be sending out requests for proposals this week to vendors, and we'll plan to have a food service contract for the board to approve in April at that board meeting. And then just a quick update on the FY25 budget. I am currently working on that budget. A few key aspects for the board to be aware of as we start to get into that budget season. On the revenue side, I am expecting the district to still be at Tier 1 for EBF. And then with new construction within our boundaries, we should see an increase in our property tax receipts. Our interest revenue should stay consistent next year. I do expect CPPRT to be significantly lower this year. Our state grants should stay basically flat for next year, and then with the ESSER projects year ending in September, our federal grants will see a significant decrease because of the of ESSER funds going away. On the expense side, I'm updating the known salaries based on all the CBAs, as well as updating staff benefit expenses. I'll be scheduling department head meetings in April to discuss next year's budget soon. I'm expecting most of the department budgets to stay fairly flat for next year unless they have some specific needs that I'm unaware of. Some of our purchase services will have large increases, such as special education tuition and transportation. And then the remaining budget could then be allocated towards capital projects. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dan. Director of Human Services report.
All right. First, I'd like to start with an update on insurance. The Insurance Committee met again this week following the committee members diligently sharing information and gathering feedback from their membership, both of the teachers and support staff unions. The committee is considering some small-scale health insurance plan changes that will maintain the quality of benefits while reducing overall costs, particularly for the board, which we understand takes on a lion's share of the insurance costs year to year. Dan and I truly appreciate the Insurance Committee's hard work and collaboration to come up with a plan that will be beneficial to all parties. We have another meeting on the calendar immediately following spring break to revisit plans in light of the final renewal rates, which will be presented tomorrow at the EBC's annual final renewal meeting. We do intend to return to the board in April to request approval of the health and dental insurance renewal and recommended plan changes, both in accordance with the teacher's CBA and in time to plan for open enrollment in May. Second, tonight you're presented with the staffing recommendation both for licensed and support staff. Please note that there are no major changes from what I presented as a tentative recommendation at the COW meeting earlier this month. The one change you will note under support staff, however, is with regard to the family liaison position. We received a lot of thoughtful feedback from the board regarding how to envision that position and its place in the building. In addition, Dr. Dwyer arranged a meeting with Sarah Norton and Sarah Burnett from District 33. They came over last week. It was very helpful and very graciously shared a ton of information. It was everything from the big picture to the granular to help us better understand their family liaison model. We recognize that this is a big undertaking and we want to do it right. Our team will continue to work together over the coming months to develop a comprehensive plan, including responsibilities and a job description, which we look forward to bringing back to the board for approval. And we appreciate your ongoing support of this endeavor. Next, evaluation season has officially wrapped up for our licensed staff members, and subsequent to that, Dr. Dwyer and I met with all non-tenured teachers earlier this month. We are proud to include, as part of the personnel report, a recommendation for contract renewals for 48 non-tenured staff members and granting of tenure to an additional 14 staff members for the 24-25 school year. And finally, our recruitment efforts are in full swing. In addition to a number of in-person job fairs, our district attended the IASPA virtual job fair for the first time this spring. It was a huge success. We ended up making over 100 connections with quality candidates in one afternoon. I want to shout out the 6 building administrators who gave up their evening to be a part of this event. They did a tremendous job representing WeGo and sharing our story with candidates. So thanks to Scott Albright, Steve Balhan, Lauren Stewart, Mark Wolf, Connor Zapital, and Veronica Jimenez Winton. And this concludes my report.
Thank you, Julie. Principal's report.
I'd like to begin tonight by thanking the numerous members of our Student Services, EL, and Dean's departments who stayed late last night to make personal phone calls to hundreds of parents to check in on them and to set up appointments for parent-teacher conferences later this week. We have regularly had these attendance nights for the past 2 years, and I really appreciate the leaders and staff who have taken the time to make this initiative work. I also want to wish good luck to Life Smarts, the chess team, and the journalism club, who will all be traveling to their respective national competitions early next month. I'm sure that all 3 of these great activities and clubs will do very well as they wrap up 3 very successful respective seasons. Also in April, we will be administering the SAT, the PSAT, and the Illinois Science Assessment. These assessments will occur on April 18th and 19th. I really want to thank the administrative team and the staff members who have worked so much already to plan for these very important, very complex days. In particular, Ms. Wint, who has spearheaded our SAT efforts, and Mr. Albright, who has spearheaded our efforts for the science exam. Both of these exams are now digital and will be on new platforms this year. Needless to say, this has had many complications already, but I'm confident that the work our team has done to prepare will leave us in a very good position. It's also hard to believe, but we are now less than 2 months away from graduation. As a reminder, we'll see everybody Wednesday, May 15th, 7 p.m., the NIU Convocation Center in DeKalb. Also, as a reminder, I'd like to update the Board of Education on a topic from the February Committee of the Whole meeting. At that time, I presented on a new textbook proposal of the Practice of Statistics for the AP course, 7th edition. Since that meeting, the text has been on display in the district office for more than the required 30 days. We have not received any public comment or feedback regarding this text, and tonight we'll be asking the board to approve the adoption of it for the 24-25 school year. As a reminder, we currently use the 5th edition of the same textbook. Also, since our last board meeting, the choir, orchestra, and band all hosted very well-attended concerts. But I really want to compliment the choir and orchestra as well as their parents. They both performed on the night that we had incredible inclement weather come through West Chicago. The concert had to be interrupted. The students, the faculty, and parents all vacated to the lower level beneath the auditorium. To say that it was interesting to have about 250 of us all elbow to elbow in the old part of the building would be an understatement. But while the students were not able to finish the performance, they did make a recording of the concert the next day that was made available to everyone. And I really do want to compliment the families and the staff members who handled the situation very well. Speaking of inclement weather, spring sports are in full swing, and all teams have had their first competitions, even though some of them have been frozen out as they were yesterday. We're looking forward to a strong season from all of our teams. To conclude my report, I'd like to remind everyone that in your packets, you have the discipline and attendance data. And finally, I want to say that I'm looking forward to hearing from Senior Jack Walsh, who is our student board representative tonight. And later on, you'll be hearing about Jack's experience as the 3rd member of the Walsh family to go through WEGO, and I'm looking forward to hearing about his perspective.
Thank you, Will. Teaching and learning report.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share a teaching and learning update at the regular meeting. I have 2 items for you this evening. First of all, last Friday, the district hosted more than 50 members of CADCA, which are the Chicago Area Directors of Curriculum and Instruction. They meet monthly to discuss current issues in curriculum assessment, kind of the most relevant issues of the time. At Friday's meeting, our own Steve Balhan, who is our math division head, gave a presentation on building thinking classrooms, which is an instructional framework that our math teachers have implemented in the classroom over the last few years, all grade levels with great success. The framework focuses on 14 elements that include procedures such as visible random grouping. So what that would mean is that teachers would use a computerized app in order to assign students to groups right in front of them, as well as using vertical non-permanent surfaces, which just means using whiteboards. So in general, the students are assigned to, someone made a lot of money on this book. Generally, they're working in groups of 3 at the board for a significant portion of the period. And so that's enabling them to do the thinking and the working as opposed to probably more so when we were in school and the teacher was doing the problems. The linchpin of the framework is that student engagement that we were just talking about, and what the author calls thinking problems. So this is focused on discussion and collaborative problem solving, while teachers only offer hints and extensions. The creator of the framework is a Canadian professor of mathematics, and the way he describes it as the goal is to get more of your students thinking and thinking for longer periods of time within the context of the curriculum, which leads to longer and deeper learning. 5 districts, including District 33, have visited WeGo math classrooms to observe this building thinking classroom model in action. And I just wanted to finish this section thanking Steve Balhan for that. And I emailed him today to let him know that the DuPage County curriculum directors may be inviting him next. So it was very well taken. And then the second update is regarding PACE, which is the Illinois Post-Secondary and Career Expectations Framework. So the POWER Act, which includes the college and career pathway endorsements that we talked about earlier in the year, are another component of this. That includes the PACE framework, which has been designed to provide students with guided exploration of post-secondary planning and options. So this is a focus on having students have more individualized planning of their particular interests in terms of a content area or area for career, and then getting them the exposure more deeply. And you could see how that would be connected to the pathways, that we want students to have some of those experiences before they're making those decisions. The PACE framework also provides guidance to students, families, and educators on what types of experiences and information that students should know and have in order to make the most informed decisions about college and career planning, actually beginning in 6th grade. So this is something that will be another opportunity for us to articulate, that continues all the way through 12th grade. PACE has 3 areas of focus. The first is career exploration and development. The second is post-secondary education exploration, preparation and selection, and then perhaps in some ways most importantly, financial aid and literacy. So how will they be able to make those things actually happen? The intent of the PACE framework is for it to serve as an organizing tool. It will connect areas of success for students, and it will also enable us to identify students who are not able to identify areas of interest. All Illinois public middle and high schools must adopt and then implement this by July of 2025. So that will give us next year to really do some in-depth planning and preparation. Also, of course, since we'll be having a new counseling division head, that will also be a critical component that we'll have there as well. And then ultimately, we're not required to adopt the state's framework. We have the option to design our own and customize it for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Student Board Representative Report.
Good evening. I would like to thank all of you for allowing me to report on the student life here at West Chicago. I believe that it's very important to hear the student perspective on academics and life here at WeGo. This opportunity allows students like myself to speak in front of the board, which is very beneficial. As the year enters the final quarter, I would like to discuss my time here in academics, athletics, and activities. Looking back at 2020, the start of my freshman year, I can confidently say that my experience as a student has improved year after year. Granted, it couldn't have started at a worse time during the pandemic, yet even that year was handled as well as anyone could have hoped. I believe a major part of academic success is the teacher-to-student connection. This professional relationship yields many benefits. Specifically, it results in decreased absenteeism, better grades, and improved social and emotional well-being of students. For me, in all 4 years, I've always tried to connect with my teachers, and the teachers here at WeGo have always tried to connect back with me along with the other students. I believe going forward, we should continue to encourage teachers to build connections with their students and hire new teachers who are not only strong in teaching, but also looking to connect with the students here. I can say that these connections definitely improved my time while I've been here. My next topic of academics is den time. The den period is great even despite the constant discussion about the lessons and motivation given by the students. It allows students like myself who fill up on classes to have time in the school day to act as a study hall. It includes academic support, which is very beneficial to students who are looking to better understand their coursework at hand in a variety of subjects. Den opens up a time in the day for many opportunities, whether it be a period to relax, make up on tests, retake tests, converse with friends, complete work, or even connect with their teacher. I think the addition of Den should be long-lasting, especially since over years we will continue to improve the lessons given to students. Moving on, I would like to discuss one opportunity, which is the possibility of offering more honors or earned honors elective classes. As a student who takes pride in their grades and wishes to pursue a secondary education, honors classes mean a lot. They offer a boost to the weighted GPA of a student, yet classes such as electives, which are non-honors, damage a student's weighted GPA. I love the electives offered here. The foods, business, and art classes offer students a chance to get instructions in their subjects of interest. However, the issue is that taking such classes, even if finishing with an A, ends up bringing down a student's weighted GPA. Students face negative consequences as a result of pursuing their interests in such classes. I'm not sure if there's a complete answer to this problem, but offering electives as earned honors might solve some of the issue. Now for student life in athletics and activities. This winter, we had 2 state athletes. Our all-state swimmer, Brady Johnson, took home multiple gold medals in various events at the state swimming championship. In girls wrestling, we had a state qualifier and last year's runner-up, Jaden Huesca, who finished her amazing career with a 5th place finish. For basketball, we had multiple all-conference players, including myself, in both boys and girls. For the boys basketball team, we had a new coach, Coach Roy Ramos, for the first time in 11 years. He has brought new life to the program, and the future is looking bright. Similarly, as most of you know in football, our second-year head coach brought us to the playoffs for the first time in over 20 years. I think if we continue to acknowledge and appreciate the athletics here at WeGo, we'll see continued success and improvement that can stem outwards into academics. As the school year inches closer to an end, multiple clubs have been working hard to make it an amazing finish. I'm part of Pep Club, which has been fantastic this year. The teacher sponsors of Pep Club, Mrs. Mastrioni, Mr. Jennings, and Mr. McKenna, have put priceless effort and time into the school. To end the year, we're planning a pep rally as well as a senior sunrise on the last day of school. Student Council has been working hard to make the finishing touches on proms and school spirit days. This year for prom, we're headed to the Field Museum. The school spirit and love for WeGo grows stronger every year as teachers continue to put in effort that make our time here the best it can be. It is truly an honor to say I've been a Wildcat for 4 years. The administration and teachers have constantly improved the life and experiences students have over the years. Thank you all for your time and considering our voice here at WeGo.
Thank you, Jack. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Good evening. First, Dr. Wenninger and I would like to wish everyone a safe and relaxing spring break, and also a happy Easter for those who celebrate Easter. Our employees have a staff development day on Monday, April 1st, following spring break. And yes, students, no fooling. That means that you don't have to come to school on April 1st. Our students' first day back is Tuesday, April 2nd. Please have a productive home stretch to the end of the school year, students, and work hard and focus on your goals for the end of the year. You may be aware that we experienced many student discipline issues during the month of February. Some of our students made some poor decisions that impacted themselves and others. Our crisis response to these incidents worked effectively, and we are grateful for the quick response by our school personnel and the West Chicago Police Department. The quick response limited the disruptions to our school and to our students. We conducted an immediate debrief to identify those procedures that went well and what enhancements are necessary to improve our response to issues that arise in the future. Most importantly, we reviewed strategies for avoiding incidents before they escalate. We developed strategies for addressing students who are not in class or tardy to class, for reviewing the scope and application of specific consequences, for determining opportunities for our student services staff to intervene with students so that they can avoid triggers and other stressors. We also addressed coordinating information with the West Chicago Police Department, sorry about that, and ensuring that our employees can access information that is necessary about their students, and also for ensuring the necessary allocation of supervisory staff in the necessary areas of the lunchroom and the hallways. It is very nice to share that many of our students stepped up and reported their observations during these incidences. Their cooperation with our investigations made a difference and helped get to the truth much quicker. We are also thankful for the existing camera system, which the board approved previously. That helped us expedite identifying those who were involved. Please know that the safety of our students and employees is always our highest priority for ensuring everyone's safety. Next, we wanted to just update the board that Dr. Johansson's transition toward his July 1st start date is going very well. He will be here this Thursday, March 21st, to meet with members of the Bilingual Parents Advisory Committee, followed by the larger community meet and greet, which will be held right here in the community room from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. And again, that's Thursday, March 21st. As we continue through the spring, Dr. Johansson will continue meeting with all employee groups and community leaders during the final months of the school year. If you have not yet met Dr. Johansson, please take an opportunity to introduce yourself and welcome him to our WeGo family. We hope that our board members and community have enjoyed learning more about our teaching and learning initiatives through the monthly committee of the whole presentations. For the last 3 months of the year, we will enjoy learning about science in April. And then in May, we're going to learn more about either our literacy plan, the APCE program, DEN, or our academic supports. We're still making final decisions for May. And then we will finish the year at the June Committee of the Whole meeting with a data report presentation. The monthly student enrollment report for the months of September through February are included in your packet. This report indicates beginning enrollment, adds and drops for each month, and the ending enrollment for the month. We plan to share this report with you monthly at the regular Board of Education meetings. Also, we did receive 5 FOIAs since the last board meeting. Those have all been responded to thanks to Julie Schwartzloff and the various district departments that assisted in collecting the information for those reports. And then finally, parents, as Dr. Dwyer mentioned earlier, please remember that our spring parent-teacher conferences are this Thursday and Friday. Scheduling for those conferences already started, but you can still sign up through, I think it's 11 o'clock tomorrow night, using the PTC Wizard, and you can access that by going through the school district's website. Brittany has a pop-up that comes right when you go to the website, so it's easy to access. And that is the end of the superintendent's report. Do we have any questions?
Thank you, John. Committee and representative reports.
Good evening, everybody. I do want to once again welcome Dr. Johansson, who's sitting in the audience, to another board meeting. I hope you're as excited as we are, Dr. Johansson. Have you here. The DEOS report is attached to your agenda. Just a couple of highlights from it. The TCD enrollment from a year ago is up by 37 students. TCD and DEOS received almost half of its CTEI funds for FY24. The January open house held at TCD on January the 17th was a big success. Lots of parents and community members attended, and we had 615 people register as they entered the building, which is the high for the last 5 years. And finally, the annual TCD Foundation Dinner, which benefits the TCD Professional Cooking, Baking, and Service Program, will be held 2 days from now, March 21st, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at TCD. And if you're interested, you can contact me or TCD directly for tickets. I do want to wanted to add one other thing to the superintendent's report, and I'm drawing a blank. So that went away.
I didn't read your blank, so I don't know what it was.
Sorry.
Well, if you think of it, we can add
Yeah.
it later. We also have a LEND report. So you may remember at our last meeting, I mentioned that there were going to be 2 LEND meetings prior to the next meeting. The first one was February 21st, and the last one was just this past Friday, March 15th. There are some additional items in the board packet for your review, but just to highlight a couple of things. During that February LEND meeting, Peg Agnos and Jen Figuarelli, the directors of LEND, They welcome the newest member of the Ethicos team, Carly Ryan. She is the new business director for Ethicos. You may recall, board members, from past years that Ethicos is the company that Lend contracts with for lobbying efforts on public school districts, DuPage School District's behalf in Springfield with Illinois state legislators. Peg and Jen also reviewed a few bills that are currently working on and some others of interest. One of them that we did want to make, that we wanted to bring to your attention is Senate Bill 2568, which was introduced by our very own Senator Karina Villa. A couple of items on this. This bill is designed to limit public school districts to only one 403B option for investments for employees. Both Dr. Weniger and I and other area superintendents have reached out to Senator Villa, as well as other peers from across the state, to express significant concerns with this bill. It is kind of perplexing to us how limiting options for employees to only a single company is better than choice. Our employees seem to appreciate that they have options to choose from, so we really have not been able to get an answer why this is a better approach. Lend is advocating for strong opposition to this bill, and please let me know as you go through the report from the February meeting if you have any other questions about those additional bills that are highlighted. The Lend meeting last week featured a special guest, Dr. Tony Sanders, who is the Illinois State Board of Education superintendent. You may remember Dr. Sanders. He was the superintendent of U46 local school district for many years. Dr. Sanders reviewed ISB's priorities for this year, which include a new accountability system, which will include, among other variables, growth measures and addressing chronic absenteeism, the competitive process for decision-making about the use of the SAT or ACT, and expanding the systems of supports available across Illinois for all public schools. Again, please review the bills of interest that are listed in that packet and let me know if you have any questions from those bills. And that is all from those two Lend meetings. Any questions? Okay. We also had a SACID meeting. Just got to pull up those notes. So the last SACID Board of Directors meeting was February 21st. A representative of the accounting firm of Lauterbach and Amann reviewed the annual financial report for SACID and concluded that there were no significant findings. The AFR and management letter are included as items number 3 and 4 in your packet for your reference. The interim executive directors also shared that the small work group of the Finance Committee has another meeting planned to finalize the billing procedures proposal. Also, the cooperative corner is linked in the packet for your review. Please enjoy that. There's a lot of fun news about the cooperative. And the monthly SACID enrollment report is also included in your packet for your review. They are reviewing options to fulfill the transportation needs of member district students attending SACID programs, and they're going to be working with each of the business managers, so Dan will be involved in those conversations. And that is to transport member districts, students with disabilities who attend SACID programs to those SACID programs. It's different from our transportation contract. In an effort to assess the efficiencies with the location of SACID programs for the future, the interim executive directors are surveying the member districts to determine space available across the cooperative. We did complete that, and Will and I went through the options here, and unfortunately, our space is limited, so we were not able to offer any space up. And then finally, there was a welcome reception for Dr. Kim Dreyer last month, who is the next executive director for the cooperative. She will start July 1st. And our next SACID Board of Directors meeting is tomorrow morning. Any questions about that SACID report? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John and Attila. That brings us to future dates. April 2nd is a Committee of the Whole meeting. April 16th is regular Board of Education meeting. May 7th is Committee of the Whole meeting, and May 21st is regular Board of Education meeting. And that brings us to board members' open comments.
I will again call for the release of the Title IX report. at the very least to the board members, but it should be to the public also. In light of recent findings or recent action by the Attorney General, they made it pretty clear what can and what cannot be kept private, kept away from the public. And I think this very clearly falls into the category that something should be made public. Thank you.
I would add on with Gary that I also feel that this absolutely needs to be released. It should have been released at the time of the meeting. It's been requested. I am very dismayed that our requests have repeatedly been ignored, and I don't think we ever should have been in a closed session meeting, let alone holding back the information that's been requested. So I prefer not to see us take legal steps to go after that, but I think we need to get this out to at least the board members who have requested it. It's very disrespectful. Thank you.
I would add that I can't remember any situation where information has been kept from the board.
Any other open comments? All right, that brings us to future issues.
Recent student discipline, and then we're looking at a contract for Ombus, I think.
Ombudsman.
Ombudsman. Brings to mind that I'm not that familiar with the comings and goings. It might be worthy in the next couple of months to get a report on Ombudsman, and I think we have 2 outplacement services, correct? Things like what's our success rate, what happens to students as they go through that process, do they get to walk at graduation or is there a separate graduation, things like that. Just kind of an informational update on how these services work and how successful they are for the students that we're sending there.
We can definitely provide that information. Keep one thing in mind. A lot of those decisions are individualized, so you had asked specifically, and I realize it was just an example, like do they get to walk for graduation? Those determinations are based on the individual circumstances of each case.
That's fine.
So,
Then that's
yeah,
the information that
Yeah.
would be helpful.
Yeah, we can definitely follow up with that.
Just to bring the board up to speed on that, I don't remember ever having a report on that other than I know that we use the services.
Any other future issues? All right, that brings us to consent agenda. Does anyone want any items removed from the consent agenda for separate action? Hearing none, the recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes from February 20th, 24 regular Board of Education meeting, open and closed, February 20th, 2024 special Board of Education meeting, open and closed, February 22nd, 2024 special Board of Education meeting, open and closed, March 5th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting, March 12th, 2024 special Board of Education meeting, open and closed, the approval of the financials as detailed in the agenda, the adoption of textbook, The Practice of Statistics for the AP Course 7th edition print and electronic, the IHSA membership renewal for 2024 to 2025, the Ombudsman contract renewal, and the personnel report.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Doremus?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz? Aye. Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Motion carries. There being no old business, we move to new business. Item number 1, Healthy West Chicago funding request. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the funding request from Healthy West Chicago as presented and attached.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
I thought we were going to have some presentation from Healthy West Chicago.
We do.
Once it's on the table, that would be the time, so.
Okay.
Now it's on the table, that would be the time.
Thank you, Bob. Just briefly to remind the board that at the March Committee of the Whole meeting, we had a discussion about the request from Healthy West Chicago for a funding of $5,000 in each of the next 3 years. Healthy West Chicago is a not-for-profit organization that is funded by governmental entities, including the City of West Chicago and District 33, as well as other grants that it seeks and receives. Its overall goal is to simply provide better health for the West Chicagoans. So after the Committee of the Whole meeting, I reached out to Carly Smitherman, who is standing before you at the podium, and invited Carly to do several things. One, to watch the video from the COW meeting so that she understood what the concerns as expressed by the board were, and she did that. And then also to address some of the other concerns that board members had. And Carly and I had several conversations since that last meeting, and Carly has invited Michael Gutman, who many of you know is a City of West Chicago City Administrator, who also happens to be the chair of the Healthy West Chicago organization. So Carly and Michael, thank you very much for coming this evening, and the floor is yours.
Thank you for having us. Well, would you all like me to explain a little bit more about what Healthy West Chicago is within our mission, and then open the floor for your questions?
That would be wonderful.
Okay. So our mission is to ensure that our residents have access to an optimal state of health and wellness. And within that, we do a lot of direct services, such as programming in schools, such as District 33, and now here in District 94, which I believe you're all aware of. Our new cooking program here at District 94, which has been so much fun, and we are getting ready for round 2 after spring break. We also provide education in partnership with the library district. So we've partnered with the library district to offer nutrition education programs, as well as cooking classes and garden programming. And we also do yoga on the lawn with them. So we do a couple variety of different things. And just so that you are aware that the programs that we provide our residents are, I shouldn't just use the word residents, the programs that we provide are for anyone that work, live, and we like to say play in West Chicago. So that would mean anybody that attends District 94, their families, as well as all of your staff. So another great event that we actually had here was for the staff last year. I believe it was in May. I believe, is that correct, Julie?
That's right.
So we came in and provided a quick informative education about mental health and physical health, as well as the importance of eating a well-balanced diet with your staff, and provided a cooking demonstration. These are just examples of things that we have done this year, and I would say in this realm, like recently, but we also do things like provide gardens to food insecure individuals in West Chicago. And that's not just limited to our residents. It's people that actually use the St. Andrew's Food Pantry, which is open to more than just West Chicago, are individuals that use the Lehman WeGo Food Market as well. Our goal, like I mentioned, was to ensure that our residents have access to this optimal state of health and wellness, and we try in so many different facets to make sure that they are able to live a healthy life, and we just want to provide them the tools, the education, and be their support. So we do have a lot of community members that are repeats. So when you look at our reports, some of those may be repeat numbers, because we see them at the food pantry, we see them at a cooking class, and then we see them at yoga on the lawn. So we really are in the community making sure that our residents have the tools to be healthy. I feel like a couple of your questions that I saw from the video might be better addressed by Michael in respects to the townships and the individuals that attend District 94. Did you want to address that?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today about Healthy West Chicago. I get volunteered to do a lot of things. This is the one I'm most proud of being volunteered to do in terms of helping the organization. If you would have asked me 30-some years ago about, I was in Ohio and there are far fewer governments than there are here in Illinois, if we need to pay attention to the walls between the units of government, that's what we were taught. You know, we all have our own missions, we all have our own constituencies to serve. And if you would have asked me that when I started here in West Chicago many years ago, the city council certainly thought that too. I think that's changed quite a bit over time. I think we've seen that with our economic development partnerships, which we won't go into tonight, but I think have been wildly successful. But for the fact there's not a state player, I think we could win some awards associated with that. But we're talking about community health. And the community's health really has no boundaries. No, we can't go to Highland Park in Evanston from where I came from, but we need to draw a larger circle, because if we didn't, that means we'd have to check ID cards and look at a map, and we would only be able to serve incorporated West Chicago residents. And that doesn't serve it, because the unincorporated families play with our families. They work with families in incorporated West Chicago, and guess what? They go to school at District 33 and District 94 too. And while we may not have a lot of participants from Carroll Stream or Winfield, they certainly would be welcome. And I think it's appropriate that if the taxing bodies are contributing money towards this initiative, we need to expand that to make sure they can participate in the wonderful programs that Carly has spearheaded. Anything else in particular? Okay, any questions when you're ready for me?
To open the floor for questions, or I'm happy to focus on certain programs that I feel like your participants, your staff, your students would probably partake in.
So what exactly are you requesting then, in terms of the 3 years of $5,000 each?
Yes, so we're just requesting, so I guess it's really up to you. We're very flexible in how our agreements are with our other taxing bodies. We do have some that want the funds directed towards specific services that we provide, and we have others that are fine with us using it for what we need, just for infrastructure, just for programming, what have you. So it's really up to the board, your board, to make that decision.
I guess I view the request as a request for a grant to Healthy West Chicago. As far as I know, as a taxing body, we don't have a vehicle to review grants and provide grants. We don't have a procedure or a policy. So my concern is that coming to us for what effectively is a grant is outside the boundaries of what we would be able to do. I think further discussion was that we would, earmark any money towards specific programs that would benefit the district, not necessarily limited to West Chicago, but the district. So I'm just wondering whether the request has changed at all since we first heard it at the last meeting.
Mr. Nagel, if I could just make one comment, just to clarify, because you did bring up that the phrase grant before. That was your interpretation.
That is my interpretation.
Yeah, and it wasn't part of the request. They weren't seeking a grant. They were asking municipal partners to contribute funds so that they can fulfill the obligation within their mission. And certainly the question that was asked, and I think it has been answered, about whether or not this would be, these services and programs would be available for any student or family who attends community high school. The answer is unequivocally yes. And I appreciate, Michael, you did a great job of even expounding on that a little bit, because sometimes there are barriers or walls between units of government. So I personally don't view this as a grant request. It's a funding request, without a doubt. And there's nothing prohibiting this Board of Education from approving that type of funding, especially if it's limited to a 3-year request.
I could just add a couple things. Since the committee of the whole meeting, and Rich and I did have a couple of conversations about this, Carly did acknowledge that if the board wanted to designate the funds to be used for West Chicago High School, that could be done as she explained. Secondly, I did talk with our legal counsel at the request of Rich, and he said a couple things which I think were very instructive. Number one is that the Illinois School Code is silent on this particular issue. It neither prohibits nor does it permit these kinds of funding requests to be fulfilled. So it's silent. The second thing he said was, and he referred to the Illinois Constitution, which does acknowledge the phrase public funds. And I thought it would be instructive for all of us to actually hear this. It's not very long. It actually comes from a legal case, Independent Voters of Illinois, Independent Precinct Organization versus Ahmad, and it was in, I don't have the date here, but it interpreted what the statement in the Illinois Constitution about public funds is. So first of all, it is a legal standard for interpreting that provision, and it is specifically about what is for the public good and what are public purposes. What is a public purpose is not a static concept, but is flexible and capable of expansion to meet the changing conditions of a complex society. Moreover, the power of the state to expend public monies for public purposes is not to be limited alone to the narrow lines of necessity, but the principles of wise statesmanship demand that those things which subserve the general well-being of society and the happiness and prosperity of the people shall meet the consideration of the legislative body of the state, though they oftentimes call for the expenditure of public money. The consensus of modern legislative and judicial thinking is to broaden the scope of activities which may be classified as involving a public purpose. So the board can choose to do several things with the request from Healthy West Chicago. It can deny the request, it can approve the request, or it can do something in between. The board can enter into an agreement, not a very complex document, not an intergovernmental agreement or IGA, but simply agreement that says that if the board approves the funding request, then those funds shall be used for X, Y, and Z. It is as simple as that. We can use a standard boilerplate agreement that we often use for our service vendors, and that would satisfy, I think, some of what some of the board concerns are. And in talking with legal counsel, he felt pretty strongly that would be a cleaner way to go if the board so chose. So it seems to me that the options are not necessarily to debate what the right term is, whether it's a grant, a donation, a contribution, a fund, or whatever, but it's to acknowledge that public funds can be used for a broad scope of services. This one happens to serve the citizens of West Chicago, but by both Carly's and Michael's acknowledgement that space would be available, for example, for programs for kids from this school and staff, even though they are not citizens of West Chicago.
Correct. Can I share a story real quick about a student here? And I think Penny could also probably share some amazing stories about how Healthy West Chicago, we, like Michael mentioned, we do not ask for zip codes. We do not care where the individual lives. We're here to support and try to bring them the tools and resources they need to live a happy, healthy life. So we had a request from a counselor here at District 94 that there is a student having issues controlling their blood sugars. So she reached out to me asking if I could assist with providing diabetes education for this student. What Healthy West Chicago does with a request like that is I reach out to Northwestern Medicine, I reach out to the Diabetes Association. I reach out to our partners, which we have over 40 that sit at our table, to make sure that we can find resources for this student. So luckily, we have a great team of partners at Northwestern Medicine who are going to be coming in April to provide one-on-one counseling with this student to help control their diabetes. And then we're also going to provide a couple of other programs for students that also may have not been identified that they need services to help with their blood sugar control, but they can sign up for these classes with these doctors and learn how to eat a healthy diet with the struggles that they have that, you know, they may not be getting assistance at home, but Healthy West Chicago, we are here to help them however we can. And even if the funding isn't provided by District 94, we still will provide those services for these students. We also had a student who needed a bicycle. Penny reached out to us, and we found a way to get that student a bicycle so they can ride to school safely and not have to worry about transportation to and from school. So these are just some examples that are outside of what you're reading on a report of numbers of people we serve or classes that we hold. We do a lot more than just teach cooking classes, hold yoga on the lawn, have wellness nights. We really are there for our community.
What is the legal structure of Healthy West Chicago?
So we sit under People Made Visible, Inc., which holds our 501c3. So we are considered a community collaboration. Does that answer your question? Or Michael?
No, that's it.
Okay. You have me questioning myself.
What other municipal units of government have made donations to Healthy West Chicago?
So the Library District, District 33, and Winfield Township, as well as DuPage County. And then we do receive grant funds from the Health Department, as well as we have received funds from Northwestern Medicine and the American Heart Association. So those are just some of the larger entities that fund us.
In the city of West Chicago.
And the city of West Chicago, yes.
I would ask Dan, not to put him on the spot, but typically we pay for goods and services. How would we transmit the requested money to Healthy West Chicago? How would that be accounted for?
It would probably just be accounted. We'd get whatever services that we're looking to provide, like Attila had mentioned, like a document that states what those services would be, and we would attach that to a check and record that into a purchase service account.
So the check would have to be against some services,
Yes.
as
Ideally.
opposed to just a check.
Ideally, it would be against some sort of service, but like Attila said, that a document like that, it's not an IGA, but it would be more of an agreement that would list those services.
Is that a document that would need to be approved before we could approve funding?
Yes, if you were going to do an agreement, it should. I don't think that poses a problem for Healthy West Chicago. Carly, am I right?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so the answer is yes, it would come back before the board as an agreement.
Because it sounds like from the answer you gave, Dan, the only way we can give money is if it's tied to specific services. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if that's the only way. I would have to think about that, but in most cases, I think that there's some sort of services attached to that.
It doesn't have to be a one-for-one, though. So it doesn't, if it's a $5,000 amount that's provided to an agency, it doesn't have to say it's specifically for cooking classes or for this. If the board wants it to, you certainly can dictate that. But there are plenty of units of government that pay or make contributions to other entities for a specific amount, and they take action on that, and that's perfectly legal. And I appreciate Attila's reference back even to the Illinois Constitution and then the school code. It is general for the public good, and there's no question that what this request is for the public good.
I think we have a narrower mission on what we do with our money to make sure that it's for the District 94 good, not necessarily the general public good. That's, again, my opinion.
I very much appreciate the examples that you gave of specifically how you've helped some of our students. That helps me get a much better picture of the services that you provide to our community and to our students. Thank you.
Once again, Carly, explain, I guess, because it seems like maybe there's miscommunication. Can you again express or describe the community that would be served?
Like outside of
District 94.
District 94. So, yes, so like I mentioned, we have the saying that individuals that work, play, or live in West Chicago can participate in any of our services. We, again, a lot of our programs do require registration. We do not ask for where they live. We are under the understanding that if you found out about our services, that you are somehow connected to West Chicago and the community. So we're here to serve all. Is that what you're referring to, or okay?
Thank you for saying that. And I do want to say that what you can't see on paper, as many of you said already, is the ability to enhance and support the well-being of the community. And also, too, that Healthy West Chicago meets the families where they are and provides an opportunity to connect to their community, which is invaluable for families that often experience poverty, that often experience barriers, that often really struggle to, because of what they face on a daily basis, really fit in. And Healthy West Chicago, their programming allows families to really build a network and find that place to fit in, whether it is, as you said, as we helped that student with that bike, it was a newcomer student that didn't know how to get to school. So our family liaison actually met the student at their house, and they walked to school while the student rode his bike because they're new to the country, had been here for, I believe, 5 days and kept getting lost going from his home to the school. So it was an invaluable example of our partnership that has been just breakdowns a lot of barriers that families and students experience because of the shifting and current landscape.
I very much appreciate and respect and am grateful for your mission and what you do for the whole community. But honestly, and I want to see you continue to do that and expand it. But I personally, as a member of this board, would be much more comfortable to know that the funds that are given to you are targeted for things going on specifically that will assist District 94 students.
I just want to caution that if we agree to make a donation, and I have nothing against Healthy West Chicago, I'm sure you do a lot of good things. I read about you all the time, but we've never made a donation before, and I don't want to set a precedent where we start to see other organizations that are worthy of asking for donations coming and asking for donations, and we get to the point where it's like, where do we draw the line? So again, you know, if we're going to agree to get some specific services and help to offset those costs, that's different than just a donation for a amount of cash that then, you know, can be used anywhere in any way.
I concur with Rich. It's a slippery slope. There's lots of organizations out there that help the community. I love Healthy West Chicago. I've taken advantage of your services many times. And I'd like to see it continue. I think if we narrow the scope and keep it focused so that our students are served, I think it could work.
Sounds like we're at a point where we're not going to be able to move forward on this funding request until there's some kind of agreement document put together with some more specifics. Is that what I'm hearing from everybody?
Michael would like to
Yes,
add something.
May I make one comment?
Yes.
Thank you. A couple of things. One, I don't know the school code, and with all your acronyms, I don't want to know the school code. I'll stick to the municipal code. But that being said, I appreciate serving District 94 students, but what about their families? I mean, that very much relies upon them. So if you're wanting to be more specific in a document, perhaps you can broaden it to include them too. And I think that would be very helpful. And the last thing I'll say, unless you have questions for me, I look at the newspapers many times at the government agencies in Illinois, and let's just assume for the sake of argument it's being reported correctly. But it is very impactful to see government collaboration. And it goes way beyond just the students, because it's what happens in our future and why people move to certain places and economic development decisions. And that's something that at least my eyes have been opened up quite a bit, especially since COVID on that. And I'm certainly more flexible than if you would have asked me 10 to 15 years ago. But it truly is impactful. And my team sees that on a very regular basis. And I think all of our governmental agencies can only win for the constituencies we serve if we do more of that in the future. Thank you.
Let me clarify that when I say District 94, I don't necessarily need to limit that to students, but the District 94 community, which would include parents, relatives, things like that, so.
Same here.
I just got to add, it sounds like you guys are already helping out the students within our school district, and I appreciate all the hard work that you guys are doing, because it sounds like you guys have built a very good network of people within our community and big agencies, you mentioned the American Heart Association, Northwestern, so I think that's really awesome what you guys are doing. So.
All right, since we have this, you have another question?
I just also point out one more thing, that, we're talking about $5,000 over 3 years. Within the next 3 years, we don't know what impact that $5,000 was going to have on other programs. Hacer is winding down. It's going to be harder to find the money we need for some of the programs that we're used to doing here.
All right, any other comments? All right, since the issue is on the table, would anyone care to make a motion to postpone this issue until the April regular meeting?
Second.
All those in favor of postponing this issue to the April regular meeting, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the issue is postponed to April.
Mr. Brown, before we move on, I just want to get absolute clarity and direction, so we don't bring an agreement that then causes another 20-minute discussion. So an agreement that would be between Healthy West Chicago and District 94, purchasing services in the amount of $5,000 for each of the next 3 years, and those services would be listed, as many as we know of today, because we know that services will be probably created and added over the next 3 years, and that the services will be provided to the District 94 community.
Which includes students, family, staff.
I want to be absolutely
Basically.
clear that that's what the board wants before we set about doing this.
I would be okay with that.
It's going to have to be
bring it
very
from you.
broad, because again, as you said,
I
you don't
understand,
know what
but
kind of services. might
I'm
be
trying to
needed, but-
avoid,
Yeah.
another conversation, but we can settle this if we can get agreement about what it is.
You comfortable with that, Gary?
Concur.
I don't
Thank
even
you.
think you need to list services specifically, just saying services within their mission that
That's even better.
go to the benefit of the District 94
Thank you, Kathy, that's even better.
communities.
I would be less concerned about the services as the beneficiaries of the services.
And just be nice and broad with that. Yes, that sounds good.
Yeah, that opens the door to get bicycles for whoever. I mean, those things are amazing and they're individual, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Carly,
you.
thank you,
Thank you
Michael.
both, and thank you for the wonderful things you do for our community.
Yes, thank you.
All right, that brings us to EL Program Structural Support. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the position of EL Program Support Teacher for the 2024 to 2025 school year as presented.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Suniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Amos?
aye.
Motion carries. Life Smarts National Competition, April 18 to 21, 2024. The recommended motion, the Board of Education approve the Life Smarts trip to the national competition from April 18 to the 21st, 2024, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Suniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Amos?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Motion carries. 2024 to 2025 staffing requests. The recommended motion is the Board of Education approve the licensed and support staffing recommendations as outlined in the memo, including the addition of 1.0 FTE custodian building.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Doremus?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Motion carries. Action to dismiss and non-renew probationary employees. Recommended motion to approve resolution authorizing notice of dismissal and non-renewal of first-year probationary teacher as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Doremus? Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Motion carries. Landscaping Maintenance Services bid recommendation. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the bid from True Green in the amount of $17,444.68 for fertilizing District 94 grounds and reject all other bids for the services noted in the bid.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Doremus?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Motion carries. Dynasty Landscaping, Inc. contract. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the contract with Dynasty Landscaping, Wayne, Illinois, for grass cutting on the east side of the building in the amount of $1,800 per month, plus any additional landscaping maintenance work at $55 per hour.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Doremus?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye. Motion carries.
I have a quick question on that. The $55 an hour, is that pre-approved work that they do, or do they do the work and then bill us? How does that go about?
Oh, no, that's only requested work, Rich. They would-
Requested, okay.
Yeah, anytime we would request that work.
So work orders are issued at that hourly rate then?
Yes, they only do the work that we request.
Good, thank you.
Parking lot intergovernmental agreement. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the intergovernmental agreement with the City of West Chicago for use of the parking lot owned by the city.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I want to thank Dan for working out a nice extended contract for the parking lot that, you know, as we're investing money in that we know we're going to be able to get payback, return on investments on that. And the students will have somewhere to park.
It was good that you brought it up, yes. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Doremus?
Aye.
Motion carries. Student fees. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the student fee schedule as presented.
So moved.
Any discussion?
I have a question. I thought that we were going to get a little bit more clarity on specifically fees and how we were supporting students identified as homeless or McKinney-Vento.
Related to the
Student
fee
fees.
schedule?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that it was related directly to the student fee schedule.
So like how they are supported in accessing waivers, what the process is, how are they
Well,
explained
could
to
you
them.
review that?
Also, on the specifically with the registration, how are they self-identify as McKinney-Vento or homeless or needing that support?
Yep, let me just pull up the information for you 1 second. So any student coming to the school as a newcomer is identified for McKinney-Vento fees automatically and immediately receives those waivers. Additionally, during the registration process, families also have an opportunity to indicate if they need a payment plan or any other financial concerns. And at that point, we help them fill out the mealtime application for fee waivers, which automatically determine eligibility. We also have numerous times throughout the year where school counselors, social workers, or teachers will pass along information that a student shared, at which point we follow up and find out more information as well. And then starting this year, we are adding a few more, I guess I would say, innocuous questions that may lead someone to have an opportunity to indicate if that may be a service they need or don't need, and then we would be able to guide them in the right direction to apply for the fee waivers, McKinney-Vento services, or other areas that we might need at that time. And also, as we did this year too, more of that alignment with District 33, who then gives us the information of students coming in here who may already qualify for McKinney-Vento services.
Dr. Dwyer. And then the fee waiver, is it accessible online as the registration is?
Yes.
It is the paperwork, and it is in Spanish.
I am 99% certain, so let me find it while we're having the rest of our meeting.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Remus?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Motion carries. Andy Frayne extension. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the extension as presented with Andy Frayne Services, Inc., Aurora, Illinois, which includes a 3% increase to all hourly rates for the 2024 to 2025 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Remus?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Motion carries. Vape detectors and cameras. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the purchase of Verkada vape detectors and cameras from Security Systems Specialists, Highlands Ranch, Colorado, in the amount of $12,015.17.
So moved.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Zuniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Remus?
Aye, with a lot of trepidation.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Motion carries. Annual Chromebook purchase. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the purchase of 541 Dell Chromebooks from CDWG, Chicago, Illinois, in the amount of $216,941.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Remus?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Motion carries. 2024 parking lot improvement bid. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the 2024 parking lot improvement bid proposal from Abbey Paving, Aurora, Illinois, in the amount of $304,185.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Remus?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye. Motion carries. And finally, flooring proposals. The recommended motion of the Board of Education approve the flooring proposal as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So at your place, there is a memo from Dan. The reason that you were late getting that was he was exhaustively trying to get additional quotes from other companies. Unfortunately, that did not go well. So I thank Dan for his efforts with that. But we have the one vendor who we've done business with before. But that's the reason that it came late.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Munoz? Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Zuniga?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Remus?
Aye.
Motion carries. That completes the regular business that we have. We will be going into executive session. There will not be any action taken after executive session. The recommended motion, the Board of Education go into executive session for purposes of the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specifically administrative and confidential personnel.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Doremus? Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sink?
Aye.
Mr. Sunigo?
Aye.
All right, we'll be going into executive session. Why don't we take 5?